Since we're thinking about taking care of our earth and getting ready for Earth Day, talking about nature and natural resources, I wanted to read this book to you that's called Why Should I Protect Nature? And it's written by Jen Green and illustrated by Mike Gordon. Nature is the big, wild world all around us, from giant oak trees to little acorns and wiggling worms. The birds chirping in the trees are part of nature. So is the salty smell of the sea, splashing in rain puddles, and the soft fur on a donkey's nose. There's the smell of the sea. If you've ever been near the ocean or near the bay, you know that it has a little bit of a smell. It's a salty water smell. There's the rain. And then there they are patting the donkey's nose. Those are all parts of nature. I used to find nature boring or pesky or creepy. But then our class went on a trip. So look, here's when he found it boring and he's thinking, yawn. And then pesky. And he says, shoo. And then creepy. And he says in big letters, yuck. But then there's the class going on a trip. On our trip, we went to the sea and looked in tide pools. It was great. On the way home, we had a picnic in the park. So there they are at the ocean looking at tide pools. So those are places where the waves have come up and some of the salty water has gotten trapped by rocks. So it's staying in a little pool. And you can look and find little living sea creatures in there. And then there they are going for their picnic at the park. Everyone got a bit rowdy. Craig and Marina broke some branches. I threw my soda can. John picked some flowers, and Sally tried to swat a bee. Look at all these people out in nature, and they're not exactly making good choices, right? These guys have broken branches off a tree. He's throwing a piece of trash. Good grief. They've picked a bunch of flowers. She's trying to kill a bee. Our teacher, Miss Wade, said we should protect nature, not hurt it. And then look at his talk bubble. He says, why should I protect nature? She asked, what do you think would happen if everyone broke off branches? And the upside down boy says, we couldn't climb trees. The trees would have no leaves left and they couldn't grow properly. Birds couldn't nest in their branches. And guess what would happen if we all picked flowers and swatted bees? Look in their imaginations. They're imagining what the trees would look like if everybody had broken all their branches off and pulled their leaves off. And look at all those little creatures going around with their signs that say trees. Leave our trees. Save our trees. And look, the ground doesn't have any flowers, or doesn't have very many flowers. There would be no flowers left, and we'd have no honey for breakfast. And what would happen if we all dropped litter whenever we liked? Because you all know from studying about plants that flowers make their own seeds, right? So if you pick all the flowers, they don't have a chance to make their seeds and drop them for the next flowers to grow. And there's a picture of somebody throwing trash out of the window of a car. And you can imagine what would happen if everybody threw their trash just out on the ground. Goodness. The countryside would be knee-deep in paper, plastic, and tin cans. Look at how terrible that looks, with trash all over the field where the poor cows are living. Birds and other animals could choke or get trapped in litter and die. Look at those animals sitting around looking grumpy. No trees, no flowers, no honey, no animals. That would be terrible. And look how they're all saying that together, and the author wrote it in thick black writing so we would know that they said it in an excited way. They were thinking about how terrible it would be if you lost all those things in nature. So how can we help nature instead? That's what he's wondering. Instead of picking flowers, we could plant flowers in a corner of the garden. So when you plant flowers, you can pick some of them if you want to bring some into your house, and then leave the others to make seeds for new flowers. Butterflies and bees love flowers, so they'll visit too. So we know the bees and the butterflies depend on the flowers for what? Yeah, nectar. We could plant a tree instead of breaking branches. So little trees are a good thing for everybody. The more trees we plant, the fresher our air and the healthier our planet is. Cleaning up litter keeps nature looking lovely and helps animals and birds. How does planting trees help animals and birds? Yeah, animals and birds depend on trees for food and for shelter. It's a place for them to make their nests where they can have their babies if it's squirrels, or where they can lay their eggs if it's birds. Now we have fun protecting nature. After all, people are part of nature too. So there are all the kids being more responsible and making better choices when they're out in the natural world, right? They're not tearing stuff up and messing things up. They're appreciating and looking at things and enjoying them, taking care of them. And that's the end. So this week, while you're learning about the earth and natural resources and things that we need from the earth, think about how you can do things at your house that will help protect nature, how you and your friends can do things that'll be safer for nature. Good job.